Okay, welcome Rams. Today's video is about integers, opposites, and absolute values. This is the very first notes page that's in your binder right now, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna write down the definition of opposites. Now, we know opposites are things like up and down or cold and hot, but opposites also have numbers. So opposite numbers, it could be like 7 and -7. They are two numbers that are the same distance from 0. Be sure you're writing this down. All right, so on a number line, now in elementary you learned about number lines and they always started at 0 and went up. Well, now it's like we can zoom out and look at our number line in more than one direction. So if I have a 0 here, one space to the right of 0 is a 1, but one space to the left of 0 is a -1. And then we have a 2 and a -2, 3 and -3, a 4 and -4, 5 and -5, and that's plenty to put on here right now, okay? On a number line, the left side of the 0 mirrors the right side. So I could take this number line right here and fold it if I wanted, and fold that paper over in half, and this -2 would line up with that +2. They are the same distance from 0, and that makes them opposites, okay? Here's another example. -4 and 4 are opposites. This one is 4 units to the left, 4 spaces to the left, and +4 is 4 spaces to the right. Okay, so we're going to practice a few. Name the opposite. The opposite of -18. And we can look at it and say, well, -18 is 18 spaces to the left of 0. So the opposite, the number that would be 18 spaces to the right of 0, would be +18. Now, the question may come up, do I have to put a plus sign? Well, if I ask you how old you are and you say 11, do you have to tell me you're +11? No, we don't do that. If it is positive, if it does not have a symbol, like this 16 right here, we assume it's positive. So if you want to have a positive number, you do not always have to have the plus sign there. But if you mean for it to be negative, it must have the negative symbol, okay? Now, the opposite of 7 is -7, okay? The opposite of 16 would be -16. The opposite of -21, so that means this number right here is 21 spaces to the left of 0. So what number is 21 spaces to the right of 0? All right, I'm going to leave those 3 for you because you'll get to pause your video and answer those, okay? Now, absolute value. Absolute value measures distance. Now, distance is always positive. You've never seen a tape measure with a negative number on it, right? That's why there's a tape measure here. It's always in positive numbers. So absolute value is the distance a number is from 0 on a number line. I'm going to put a symbol there for number because I'm running out of room. The distance isn't that a number is from 0, okay? So if I look right here and say, okay, these little bars, and we write absolute value with these bars like this. So we would read this as the absolute value of 4. Okay, now I filled this one out for you. The absolute value of 4 is 4. Because it is 4 spaces from 0. So that answer there would be 4. The absolute value of -6. Okay, well, if I drew a number line here and I said 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and I wanted to count the spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So the absolute value of -6 is 6. Okay, the absolute value of 2.5. That's 2 5/10, or also 2 1/2. Okay, well, how many spaces from 0 am I going to find 2 1/2? Well, it's 2 1/2 spaces. Okay, negative 1/4. How many spaces from 0 is it? It is 1/4 of a space. Those are your answers. Now, this one's a little bit trickier. This one, if I look at it, that little negative symbol is on the outside. We'll zoom in here. That little negative symbol is on the outside of the absolute value bars. So that means the absolute value of 3 is 3. But since it's on the outside, I need the opposite of that. So I'll say it again. The absolute value of 3 is 3. But because this is on the outside, I need the opposite of that. So it's negative 3, which will be a little bit different here because the absolute value of negative 7 would just be 7 because that is inside, that negative sign is inside the bars. Okay? Now we're going to mark each integer and its opposite. Okay, so 2 would be right here. So the opposite of 2, we're going to show it here. If I go from 0 to 2, I'm going to go 1, 2 spaces. So I'm going to go 2 spaces to the left, and it's going to be at negative 2. Okay, 2 and negative 2 are opposites. Here's my negative 5. Let's see how far it is from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 spaces from 0. Now, pay really close attention. I'm counting the jumps, not just the lines. If I count lines, I'm wrong. I have to count the spaces, okay? So it was 5 spaces, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces this way, and my answer is positive 5. So negative 5 and positive 5 are opposites. Okay? Now, if you are a learner who does well with music, every page will have a little guitar and a QR code, and if you scan that, it will take you to a YouTube song that may be about this topic if it's something that you would like to watch and may help you out, okay? All right, this is your first flipped video. Make for sure you stay and answer all the questions.